So we all know that I'm a massive theatre fan, and I see a lot of theatre shows to the point where my friends had to make an intervention where I see no more than 3 shows a week, and I'm just about to make a very big statement. You all ready? Thriller Live is my favourite show running on the West End. I said it. I went there. Before you will come at me saying, what about The Great Gatsby? The Great Gatsby is off West End, so that doesn't count. But currently running on the West End, Thriller Live is my favourite show. Coming from me, that's a big deal, because I've seen a lot of shows. So you know that I am madly in love with Thriller Live. Now, before I talk about why I love the show so much and spiral into a full-on story that's an hour long and no one will actually pay attention to, you probably should have some context first. So I am a massive Michael Jackson fan, and I have been as long as I've been born, because my mum is a massive Michael Jackson fan. My mum is hardcore obsessed with Michael Jackson. Like, I've not met anyone as obsessed as her. So there was no way she could have a kid and not have them turn into a Michael Jackson fan. And if you look through my phone, I'm not joking, you will see musical theatre, musical theatre, musical theatre, Elvis, Elton John, Whitney Houston, and Michael Jackson. They are the only people I listen to, and Michael Jackson is the only person who I've consistently listened to. So while I've listened to all the others, Michael Jackson is the only person who I've listened to like every song he released, I think. And I have like all the CDs he released and everything. Me and my mum are like proper fans. So I wanted to see Thriller Live for so long. Oh my goodness. Whenever I'd come to the West End, I'd come to see like Les Mis, or I'd come to see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and I'd see the theatre there and I'd be like, I want to go see it. And I'd see it performing at West End Live, and I'd always be like, when's it my turn to see it on stage? But me and my mum made a deal where the first time, only the first time, that we go see the show, I would not be allowed to go alone, I'd have to go with her. So we finally got to go see the show for the first time on the 28th of July this year. Now, the show was really good and absolutely blew me away. Like, how they dance like that, how they sing like that, how they make that show happen 8 times a week is pure magic. I think the whole reason I love Thriller so much is because it's Michael Jackson's music being performed. In my opinion, that is what theatre's about. It's about making someone feel, and that show really made me feel, like it really did. Still does. And I think it's because it's the magic of Michael Jackson. His music has the power to move people. Michael Jackson's music is incredible. It's fantastic. It's unlike anything else. It's so versatile. And so his music was enough to move people and change lives. And so I think his music being performed on a stage right in front of you is what makes Thriller so special for me, and which is why I love it so much. There's a catch. So the first show was absolutely amazing, blew me away, blah 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 blah. But there was a woman sat next to me, not my mum, the other side, who was absolutely drunk out of her mind. I don't know how she was still standing up. And so because this woman was so drunk, she was having a great time. Fine, I don't mind if someone comes into the theatre drunk, as long as they behave. She sang every single song in my ear the entire time. Every single song, every single lyric. Obviously a big Michael Jackson fan for knowing every song and knowing every lyric, but I kind of paid to go see them on stage and not hear the woman next to me sing. And I was too chicken at this point to ask an usher to kick her out, so I just kind of dealt with it. But then something very magical happened. Show 2 wasn't going to happen for ages because I had no money, I wasn't working at Tesco at the time, it was just a nightmare. And then I went to go see Heathers, the musical, which is currently running at the Theatre Royal Haymarket. And I was wearing my Michael Jackson leather jacket. If you don't know what that looks like, I'll put a photo here. It's my 80s Thriller jacket, which I love so much. After Heathers, waiting to meet some of the cast to just say that I love the show and blah 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 blah, as I always do. And someone comes over to me and he compliments me on my jacket, and I say thank you very much, I love it. And he was like, so why are you wearing it to Heathers? And I went, oh well, it's the only jacket I've got here in London, so it's the only jacket I can wear. And then he introduced himself to me. This person was Gary Lloyd, who is the choreographer of Heathers and the director of Thriller Live. And I said to him that Thriller Live is my favourite show currently running on the West End. Me and my mum are obsessed. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. And then he does the kindest thing I've ever known. He gives me 2 tickets to the 4,000th gala performance the next evening with special guests, including Peter Andre. I was so happy I couldn't actually speak. Here is a photo of my reaction when that happened. I was in disbelief. I was going to see my favourite show a lot sooner than I expected. My mum races to London that day and we go and see the show, and it is electric. It's very different seeing Thriller without someone drunk next to you. It was fantastic. I really loved the show the first time. This time was a whole another level. This time it really was absolutely phenomenal because I could hear every single note perfectly. I was able to really take in the talent that was on the stage. I was blown away by the dancing. It was like everything I'd experienced the first time I saw the show, but tripled. Made even more special by the fact that it was the gala performance and it was in honour of the Prince's Trust charity, which is such an important charity. I'll put links below. And that was the moment where I decided that was it. Thriller was my favourite show on West End. That performance changed everything. It was amazing. So that was show 2. I'm now on show 7. I'm doing 2 shows on Sunday, a show on the 9th of October and a show on the 21st of October. I am absolutely obsessed. I might even be going on Halloween. In terms of why I love it so much, I think it's a combination of many things. So the cast are incredibly talented. They sing every note perfectly. Every song is performed so elegantly. It's all done in such a respectful manner, so they're respecting Michael Jackson's songs, but they're not being carbon copies of Michael Jackson. So they're not going on stage seeing who can be the best Michael Jackson performer. They're going on stage to perform his songs in a respectful way so that people can appreciate the music that he wrote and have a good time at the theatre. There is one person who does impersonate Michael Jackson for iconic songs, just Smooth Criminal, Dangerous and Billie Jean, all the really iconic songs. There is a Michael Jackson impersonator for that, but the rest of the show is just people performing his songs for the audience to enjoy. It's one thing that I think makes the show really good. Another thing is the sheer energy on the stage all the time. This is a very dance heavy show, there's a lot of choreography, and from the very opening note to the very last bow, the energy levels do not drop for a second. During every single song, everyone is putting 110% into it. Make every single dance move look flawless, not a single foot is out of place, and they make it look easy, which I'm very sure it's not. The more I see the show, the more I can appreciate that this is hard. This is a really hard show to do, and they just make it look like it's so easy. I mean, it is essentially their day job, but it's a hard day job. Some of the stuff they do is insane. There are people jumping, there are people doing the splits, there are people doing all these insane turns. I don't know dance terminology, don't come for me, I don't know that stuff. But it just looks absolutely phenomenal, and everything's all works together really seamlessly. It all flows really nicely, so one song will just weave into the next song, and all the dances fit perfectly with the song. They honour Michael Jackson through the dances. So obviously you've got the iconic dances that Michael Jackson did during Smooth Criminal, such as the lean and the moonwalk, but also throughout the other songs they've kind of taken elements from the music videos he did and put them into their dance routines, which I think is really cool. And honestly, I just think that everyone is made of rubber, because I don't know how they do that. Every single person on that stage is so flexible, it's literally insane. And sat front row, I'm absolutely swelteringly warm, and they're dancing and singing on stage, so they must be boiling, and it doesn't show for a second. They just take it all in their stride. They make it look effortless. The costumes, oh my goodness, the costumes. The costumes. I'm a massive costume nerd. If I didn't want to be on stage, I'd want to be working in the costume department, and they are so gorgeous in Thriller. Oh my goodness, I love them so much. I think my favourite song costume wise is either Remember the Time or Smooth Criminal, because they are so pretty. So pretty. And I know it's not just about making the costumes look pretty, but when a costume is pretty, I can't help but comment on that. In Remember the Time, they're so pretty, and same with Smooth Criminal, because Smooth Criminal is all about flapper dresses, and they have these tassels and everything, and me being in a 1920s nerd loves that. And that's another thing that I noticed, is that although they're not being carbon copies of Michael Jackson, they've taken elements of his clothing that he wore and elements of the costumes that he had and weaved them into the show. So again, they're being respectful to Michael Jackson, like I said, where they're being respectful to him and his career and his music, but they're not being carbon copies. They're not replicating every single thing he ever did. The way that the show pans out is so cool as well, because it starts right at the beginning with his little Motown years when he's singing Are We There and ABC, all the way up to the Thriller album and the Bad album, where it's kind of which album is best. nobody knows. They're both freaking awesome. And obviously these are songs that everyone knows and are familiar with, so people are going to want to get up and dance and sing and stuff. But it's also a theatre show, so you don't do that. And what I love is that the show gives you two bits within the performance where the audience are encouraged to get up and have a dance, have a sing along, clap your hands and all that stuff, have a good time. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. If you want to just sit and watch it, you can do that. And if you want to get up and join in, there's a bit where you can do that as well. So no matter what you're feeling, there's something for you. The appreciation of the band. Whenever I go to a theatre show, I really appreciate the work that the band does and the orchestra. And a lot of theatre shows I go to, you can actually see the band in the pit. You can see them playing the instruments, which I think is really cool. I love watching that throughout the show. I find it really fascinating. And what I love about Thriller is although you can't see the band all the time throughout the show, they will have parts within the show where they'll bring back a screen and you can see the band playing their music. From what I can think of off the top of my head, this might be wrong. There's definitely 2 songs where they bring the guitarists out so that you can kind of see them do the really cool guitar solos, which I love, and that is during Dirty Diana and Beat It, and it's so cool. I love it. I love watching them perform the guitar right there in front of you because you can hear the guitar solo and then they're performing it and it's so cool. I always think that the band needs more appreciation. Also, at the end of a show, if a band is playing music, don't leave until they stop. That is just common sense. In Book of Mormon, I noticed that they do like a play out piece of music where the orchestra is still playing while everyone's leaving the auditorium, and everyone's just leaving, and I'm like, they're still playing music, why are you leaving? Wait for them to finish and then applaud them and then leave. But yeah, I just really like how the cast and the show their appreciation for the band, and they really give them recognition and they make them get noticed, because that's a really nice thing to do and it's not something that every show does. Now, it wouldn't be me if I didn't comment on how much I loved the cast. I mean, a cast is kind of crucial to a show. Without them, there wouldn't be a show. And I love this cast so much. They're all so nice. Before I even get to that point, every single person in the cast is drop dead gorgeous. The issue I'm having is that people are normally one of 3 things: really talented, stunning, or really nice. Every single person in Thriller is all of the above. They are really talented, and really nice, and really gorgeous. And I'm like, pick one. You can't have all 3. That's not fair. It baffles me. It really does. I'm guessing if you're like somewhat famous or a performer or whatever, your fans are kind of important and the way you present yourself is kind of important. And so I was kind of skeptical the first time I went to Thriller Stage Door, because I was like, they were all really, really talented. Like, what are they going to be like in real life? And oh my god, there is not a single show that I've been to where a cast is this nice and warm and welcoming. Like, even now, after 7 shows, it still blows me away, where I'm like, I hope you don't mind me bothering you, and come over and they'll have a really nice chat and they'll like properly engage with you. It's not just a case of sign, photo, leave. They'll properly ask you, did you enjoy the show? And they'll have a really nice chat. And when I've been there, I've found that, I might be wrong, they might just shoot me down about this, but I found that they genuinely care about what I have to say to them, and they really listen to what I have to say, and they properly engage in conversation. And an interaction like that, for me, it just makes my heart warm. All I expect to see is a show. I never expect to actually meet anyone at Stage Door. I only expect to see the performance, thoroughly enjoy it like I always do. But then when you have a really nice interaction like that at Stage Door, it just makes the experience that much nicer for you. But I can thoroughly say that everyone in Thriller is as lovely off stage as they are on stage. And remember me saying about the 4,000th gala performance? I was very gratefully given tickets. What I didn't realise until I showed up at the theatre is that my ticket came with entrance to the after party after the show. And I was originally like, nah, I'm not going. I'm by myself, I'm not going to go to that. They don't know me, I don't know them very well. I've only met them twice. They can think I'm a right weirdo. Bear in mind, I'm dressed in a Michael Jackson t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and Doc Martens, because I didn't expect this to happen. And I get like pressured into going, in a good way, not bad peer pressure, but everyone was like, yeah, do it, just go for it, you'll regret it if you don't. And they were right, I would have regretted it if I didn't. So I show up and I do the thing that people on their own do. I got Dutch courage from somewhere, and I started circulating the room and introducing myself, being like, hey, I'm on my own, my name is Layla, let's chat, let's be friends. And I was expecting to get shunted out, looked at like I was a right outsider, told to basically go bugger off somewhere else. And there is not a single person who was in the room that behaved in any of those ways. Everyone was so welcoming, everyone was so nice, everyone just chatted to me as if we were friends for years. It was a really wonderful evening, and I was really actually quite shocked at how much of a good time I had, because normally that's not the sort of thing that I do. But everyone was so nice, so it was just really lovely. And I do have this thing where I worry that the more I go to a show and the more I go to Stage Door, the more I'm going to annoy everyone, and especially as I'm also quite active on Instagram. Like, I post on that way more than I should. It's my own personal blog at this point, and I worry that all the times I'm talking about the Thriller lot, every time I talk about Thriller, every time I tag cast members, I worry they're going to get annoyed at me, or they're going to start hating me, they're going to want to get a restraining order because I'm at the theatre so much. But every time I say that to the cast, they're all really lovely and reassuring. I can gather, and this might be wrong, so correct me if I am wrong, but I get the impression that they appreciate the fact that I enjoy the show, but they also appreciate the fact that I enjoy the show to keep going back this many times. In fact, I set myself a mission, which is almost completed, to get my t-shirt from the 4000th Gala performance signed by everyone. There it is, look how pretty it is, look at all those signatures, aren't they great? And I actually get worried asking people about signing this, because I'm like, are they going to think I'm weird? Are they going to be like, no, what the hell is wrong with you? They're all perfectly happy to sign it. And one person yesterday was like, I wasn't even in the 4000th performance. And I was like, yeah, but you're still in the cast of the show. You still make my favourite show happen 8 times a week. The one thing I love watching in the show is that it's never the same show twice. I think the thing about live theatre is it's never the same anyway. There's always going to be slightly different things because it's live theatre. But it's really nice to see if someone does a dance slightly differently, or hear a lyric being sung slightly differently, which can put a whole new perspective on the show. And for me, it's like every time I go, it's just as magical. So my 8th time watching the show is just as wonderful as it was my first time watching the show. The energy levels are amazing. They inspire me so much by doing this, and it's enough to make me believe that I possibly can follow my dream of being an actress one day. And that's all just come from one show. Thriller has become my happy place. Thriller is just my go-to now. Whether I'm anxious, happy, sad, good day at uni, bad day at uni, just go to Thriller and everything is absolutely fine. And one thing I've noticed, I could be wrong about this as well, I could be wrong about a lot of things. I could be wrong about this entire video, just correct me if I am. But one thing I have noticed from chatting to people at Stage Door, cast of the show, is one thing that I think makes the show work so well is that everyone on stage seems to genuinely be a Michael Jackson fan. So I'm no secret to the fact that acting is not the most stable of careers, and there will be times where you might be unemployed. So people might have just taken this job because it's a job and they need a job, which is fair enough. But I think everyone I've spoken to has said they were or are massive Michael Jackson fans, and I think that really shows through in the performances. They're genuinely performing songs they love and they've grown up with on stage, which is what makes it so much fun. I mean, is there really a better show to watch or a better show to be in than performing Michael Jackson songs for 3 hours? It's Michael Jackson, you can't go wrong. I would list off individual cast member names who I want to point out, but then I'd be reading out the entire cast list because every single person is bloody awesome. I think I've said everything I want to say at the moment about the show. If I think of anything else, I can just do a Thriller 2.0, like I do with all my videos, just do a part 2. And the memory card is now flashing at me aggressively on my camera, so I'm going to go and edit this video right now before I run out of space again. Thank you so much for watching everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!